am not only a connoisseur of anime, but I also translate it professionally from time to time. Now, I did not translate the Netflix anime series Carole and Tuesday, but I have been watching it and I have been enjoying it. And so I thought that I would look at a scene from that anime, analyze the translation that the other translator did, and show you guys what I think of it. So the clip that I found of the first scene was translated it doesn't have the subtitles from the Netflix translation. I looked them up, they're different. So this might be like a translation that the person who uploaded this video did. I have the link to where I found this video in the video description below. So I'm going to be comparing the Netflix translation to the translation that you're going to see on the screen of this clip, and then I'm going to also say what every word means, one word at a time. Okay, so the very first word, the very first part of her sentence was cut off in this clip that this person uploaded. It sounds like minikui yononaka da kedo, which would be like it's an ugly world, but it's actually mattaku sumi nikui. So the minikui part is in there, but it's part of sumi nikui. So mattaku means completely, and it's usually used with a negative. And then sumi nikui comes from the verb sumu, which is to live, to reside. And if you change the mu to a mi in sumu, so sumi, and then add nikui, it means difficult to live. So mattaku sumi nikui means it's totally hard to live. Yononaka, so this world, the world, is completely difficult to survive in. Dakedo, however. So this person translated as, there are so many hardship, typo, not so many hardships in this world, period. Kedo, however, ichi-ichi kujikecha irarenai. So kujike comes from the verb kujikeru, which means to get discouraged or disheartened. The essence of it is you're trying super hard to achieve something and you just keep failing and you just want to give up. It's that sort of sentiment. And then if you change the ru to cha irarenai, it means I can't stay in the state of this verb. So I can't stay in the state of feeling disheartened, from trying so hard to accomplish something and failing. That's literally what that means. Note she doesn't say atashi or watashi anywhere in there, but she is talking about herself. So this person translated that whole sentiment as, there are so many hardship in this world. Check your work. Hardships in this world, period. I won't be disheartened, period. So there's no but, there's no however between these two. Let's see how Netflix did it. It's hard to survive in this world. That makes a lot more sense. Sumi nikui, hard to live, or hard to reside in this world. That sounds weird if you translate it literally. So it's hard to survive in this world. That is a lot more poetic. It hits better. It feels a little bit better. Let's look at part 2. But I can't let myself give up. Okay, same sentiment. So note how the Netflix translation said, but I can't let myself give up. And then this other person who uploaded the clip translated it as, but I won't be disheartened. I actually like, but I won't be disheartened. I think that's literally more what it is close to, and it sounds more poetic. And I kind of like a more poetic sound to what she's saying in this scene because it's a poetic scene. She's skating alone. There's, ambient music going on and you can see the sparkling sunset kind of behind her. And it's her internal monologue. And basically her thoughts that she's thinking now kind of become her song. So I like it to sound a little more poetic. I almost said I like it to sound a little more pathetic. No, I like it to sound a little more poetic. So, but I can't let myself give up Netflix version. I actually prefer this other person's version, but I won't, well, there's no but. I would add a but I won't be disheartened. That's how I would fix that and make it a little bit better. All right, next line. So the next scene, datte. That is a difficult to translate word because it can kind of mean but and it can kind of also mean because. It's sort of like you're being defiant, saying, I can't give up. Come on, because, I mean this thing. I often translate datte as I mean, or come on. It sort of has that feeling to it, but it's like because, but it's a very and in your face because, like because, but mom, it has that sort of defiance to it. Atashi wa, so she's using a pronoun, I, the very feminine version of I, or, you know, more like the teenager-y girl version of I. Atashi wa, kono machi de, in this town, in this city, kono, this, machi, city, de, so de is the place, it's noting the location of the city where a verb is going to take place, and her verb is yaritai. That means to want to do something. Yaritai koto is a thing that I want to do. Yaritai koto ga aru is there is a thing that I want to do, or there are things that I want to do. Kara at the very end is basically saying because. So this whole line she's saying with the datte at the beginning and the kara at the end, she's really explaining and defending herself and stating her case. So the first line she's like, oh, it's really hard to survive in this world, but I can't let myself get disheartened. I mean, after all, there, you know, I have got things that I really want to do in this city. That's pretty much what that literally means. So the person who uploaded it to YouTube translated it as, because there's something I want to do in this city. Exclamation point. I think the exclamation point was a really good move because again, the datte and the kara and all that, that shows strength. It shows like confidence in what you are saying. So an exclamation point conveys that pretty well in subtitles. It's kind of difficult to show a person's tone of voice in subtitles. And especially if you're thinking about the hearing impaired, it's nice to have things like exclamation points whenever you really want something that a character is saying to have a confidence or an emotionality to it, even if that character isn't yelling or screaming. So this person showed datte and kara as because there's something I want to do in the city. That makes sense. It's very straightforward. It's very literal. And on Netflix, they kind of split it up into two parts because Carole is like taking a while to say this. So they have, I have something I want to do. And then they break up the line in this city. I think it's kind of awkward and clunky to break up the line into two parts like that. I would have probably kept it as one line because otherwise it reads like, because there's something I want to do in this city. It makes the in this city like the emphasized part of what she's saying. And it's, I don't know, it's not so much in this city that should be emphasized. It's there's something I want to do or there's things that I want to do. That's the part that matters. Next line. All right, so Tuesday, she's starving because she doesn't know how to take care of herself outside of her rich home. She almost falls over from hunger and she says, mo, da, da, da. So mo is another one of those very difficult to translate things. It can be like God or oh, or, you know, depending on the vocal inflection behind it. But yeah, it's kind of an exasperated sigh, but it's a word. It's like if an exasperated sigh were a word, it would be mo. Kaero kana. So kaero is like the let's do this version of kaeru, which is to go home or, you know, to return, but it pretty much always means to go home. So kaero means like I should go home or let's go home. And again, no pronoun, just the verb by itself, but we know she's talking about herself. And then kana at the end means I wonder or maybe. So maybe I should go home is like literally what that whole sentence means, but it has the mo in there, which is again the word that means exasperated sigh. So the person who uploaded it to YouTube translated it as simply should I go home, and Netflix translated it as maybe I should go home. I like maybe I should go home because should I go home question mark, it's more like she's kind of like should I go home? Whereas maybe I should go home is more like, maybe I should go home. You can really imagine a person saying, maybe I should just go home. I think I might add a just in there. But yeah, I prefer maybe I should go home, no question mark, over should I go home, question mark, because she is kind of giving up here. And I think saying, maybe I should go home, that invokes the whole, oh, that exasperated sigh. I'm done for, I'm starving. Next line. So she just says dameda, dameda, dameda. So she says the same thing 3 times in a row. So dame means no good, or it's no use, or just no. Da at the end, it's basically the plain form of desu, which is just the way Japanese people end their sentences if it doesn't end in a verb. So the da form is just, it's more, because it's informal, it tends to have a firmer tone to it. If you were a mom, you would even say to someone, dameda, like, don't do that. That's kind of what that means. So in the version that this person uploaded to YouTube, she says, no, I can't. And on Netflix, it's just translated as no. I kind of prefer no, I can't. Even though, she's literally in the original Japanese just going no, she's just saying the same word 3 times in a row, dameda, dameda, dameda. I prefer adding in, no, I can't. I think that just makes it a little stronger. Yeah, I just like it better. It sounds better. Okay, the next line, she says, Gambare Tuesday. Gambare comes from the verb gambaru, which means to struggle and to persevere, really, is the best literal translation of that verb. Gambare is like the imperative, like the commanding version of that. So persevere, like commanding Tuesday. So persevere Tuesday, that's literally what that means. Now, if I translated it like that, that would be lame, unless this series were taking place, like, I don't know, in the 1700s and she was of the aristocracy. She is of the aristocracy, but it's a futuristic piece with kind of, contemporary vibe to it. So it means persevere Tuesday or keep going Tuesday in slightly better contemporary English. And both Netflix and this person translated it as exactly the same way. You can do it Tuesday. I like that. She's given herself a pep talk. Okay, so the next line, Carole, when she's, with her keyboard getting ready to start performing on the bridge and people are just walking by, ignoring her, she says, wakatteru. That comes from the verb wakaru, which means to understand something or to know something. Understand is really a little more literally what that means. Wakatteru is like the present participle tense, like I am understanding, but no one says that in English. We would just say, I understand or I know. I might translate that as I get it, or I know the truth. Depends on how I would translate the next couple lines after that. But both the YouTube uploader and Netflix just translated it simply as I know. That it's one of those cases where her sound does not take up very much time at all. So, it's best to keep the line short so that it can be read. So even if it might be better to translate it as I know the truth or something like that, that might have just been too long and you want to just keep it as short as possible. So I know is fine. So she's going to add on to that wakatteru thought with konna toko de dare mo honki de kiite kuretari shinai. So konna toko, toko is short for tokoro, which is a place. So konna tokoro, konna toko de, at a place like this, meaning the bridge where she is, dare mo. So if you're having dare mo and then a bunch of stuff and then nai at the end, there's pretty much always going to be a nai. Actually, there's not always going to be a nai, but if it's dare mo something 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 nai, that means no one will do the something something something. So dare mo, honki de kiite kuretari shinai. Honki de means like seriously or realistically, actually. Kiite is the te form of the verb kiku, which is to listen. Kiite kureru means to listen to someone like doing a favor. Like if I were kiite kureru to you playing the piano, like I am listening for you. I am listening for your benefit. If you were saying that I am kiite kureru. So kiite kuretari shinai. So if you have a tari shinai, it means like no one will actually do anything like listen to me. That's literally what that whole thing means. So I know, wakatteru, konna toko de, like in this kind of place, on a bridge like this, no one's actually going to listen to me, is basically what that line means, literally. So the uploader to YouTube translated as, no one will hear it for real in this place. This is very literal sounding and does not sound like natural English. So the no one will hear, like that part, yeah, that makes sense. I'd say listen though, because if you're kite kureru, that means to listen to it, like to lend your ears, to be a nice person and to listen to it. Versus hearing, that's simply like the music reaches my ears and I register, oh, there is music playing. Whereas if I'm listening to music, you know, that means I'm actually consciously sitting down and I'm listening to the music. Whereas if you're hearing music, it's like, oh, music is going on in the background and I'm just hearing it. And that's what's actually happening, is like the people are just walking by. They'll hear her music. They're just not going to listen. So that was actually a very bad word choice there. No one will hear it for real. It should be listen. And then for real, that's also kind of weird. It's literally what honkide, like seriously, for real, actually means. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounds a little clunky. No one will hear it for real. In this place. So again, this place, it's too vague. And it's more like in a place like this, meaning a bridge is not a good place to have a concert. So I would even, you know, go ahead and just call it a bridge. Like, no one's going to really listen to me on a bridge. That's kind of the sentiment there. In this place, though, is kind of weird. So the Netflix translator translated it as, they said, I know, and there was no ... I don't like it when there's no ellipses. It makes you think that the thought is complete. And it's also a little clunky that there was a pause, that we're actually connecting those two thoughts. But anyway, I know, next screen, that no one's going to listen to me here. That's better. It actually does fit better with what the meaning is behind what she's actually saying. So listen, no one's going to listen to me here. Again, like in a place like this is more literally what it is. It's more, you know, that she's also describing the sentiment of, oh, this is not a worthy place to perform. This is just a bridge. This is out in public. It's not a theater. It's not a live house. It's not a proper place where people will listen to music. But again, in the interest of not cluttering the screen with a bunch of subtitles and keeping everything shorter, I think just having it as here makes sense. It's fine. And again, I might have done like, no one's going to listen to me on a bridge. So she starts playing, and again, wakatteru. So it's the same thing. She's kind of repeating. She's saying wakatteru, bloody 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 blah blah. Wakatteru, bloody 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 blah. So yeah, I'd put some thought into those wakatterus, because it's sort of like the heading of feelings, and then wakatteru again, and then more feelings. So again, I understand, I know the truth. I know. Minna, watashi nanka ni kyoumi ga nai n da. So minna means everyone. Watashi is me, or atashi. Nanka. So if you add nanka to the end of like watashi nanka or kare nanka or anata nanka, you're basically turning that pronoun into like stupid pronoun. So like little old me or stupid me or someone as pathetic as me. The nanka just makes that pronoun that came before it like a lesser version of itself. Ni kyoumi ga nai n da. So kyoumi ga nai means has no interest. So watashi ni kyoumi ga nai means have no interest in me, and then watashi nanka ni kyoumi ga nai means like, they're not interested in little old me or in someone as pathetic as me or stupid me or, you know, something like that. And then the nai n da, so if you're ending it in n da, that's the same as n desu for those of you guys who've taken Japanese from textbooks and stuff. That's the proper way of saying it. So n desu or n da or no da, that's basically when you're explaining something. Rather than just making a statement, you are explaining something. So when she's saying no one is interested in me or everyone is not interested in someone like me, I would say no one is interested in someone like me. She's basically saying that to explain why all of these things she was saying before is the case. So yeah, I would translate that as like, No one is interested in someone like me. So the Netflix translation was, I know that no one cares about me. I like that because the footage that's going behind her as she's saying that is like adults adopting other kids and ignoring her and stuff like that. So that's what she's feeling. So I really like that choice of, instead of no one's interested in me, I like that too, no one cares about me. I really like that choice. The person who uploaded it to YouTube says, because someone like me, I know, and then new screen, because someone like me has no charm. I don't know about that, because that sounds like she really has no self-confidence with that kind of translation. But I'm not really getting that from the original Japanese. I'm getting from there that she's lamenting that other people don't see the beauty in her. Like, she probably sees the beauty in herself. I mean, from her character and from the series, I know that she does see the beauty in herself and has self-confidence and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that that's a good translation for this part. And charm is also a bit of a stretch. Like, again, I don't mind like a little bit of a stretch in a translation. It makes it a little more localized. It gives it more character. But in this case, it's kind of giving it character in the wrong direction. She's like putting herself down in the translation, whereas I really don't think she is putting herself down. Okay, でも, but, 私は歌いたいんだ. So 歌いたい comes from the verb 歌う, which means to sing. 歌いたい means I want to sing. And again, she's ending it in んだ. So she's explaining things firmly. She's explaining firmly with the last sentence. I know that nobody cares about me. I know that nobody's interested in me and someone like me. But God damn it, I want to sing. It kind of has that. She's not being profane, actually, but it has that sort of feel to it. So in the, and then in the next line that comes right after that, そんな気持ちを. So this is a case where it's a little bit of a poetic license thing. The way you'd really want to arrange those two sentences or those two thoughts is, でもそんな気持ちを、でも私はその、でも私はそんな気持ちを歌いたいんだ. That's how you'd actually insert そんな気持ちを grammatically into that whole thought. But you can take it out and put it at the end like she did. And it gives it a different nuance. It emphasizes the そんな気持ちを part at the end, which means those feelings. So, but I want to sing about those feelings is pretty much exactly what she's saying there. But she's, again, splitting it into two thoughts. And Netflix translated that as two separate thoughts. But I want to sing about those feelings. Again, I don't know. I kind of don't like how this translation is like splitting up sentences into two different screens without ellipses. That just really bothers me because like then you don't know that there's more sentence. Like I'm always trained in my game translations, if I'm not finishing a sentence, I have to put in ellipses so that the reader understands, yeah, there's more coming to this thought. This isn't a complete thought or sentence. And yeah, I'm getting tripped up as I'm watching these subtitles and there's like no ellipses. So ellipses are important. But I want to sing about, pause, those feelings. That's one way you could do it. The person who uploaded it to YouTube translated it as, but I will sing with all of my feeling. I don't like with all of my feeling, I think, but I will sing with all of my heart would, that just sounds more natural. That's how we actually talk. And I like it. I like the sound of that. So yeah, if I were going with this translation, I would just say, but I will sing with all my heart. Or, but I will sing with all my heart and soul, or, but I will sing with all my soul. But again, it then is missing that feeling of, she wants to sing about those feelings she was having in the last couple lines, where her feeling of she knows that people are not interested in her, she knows that people aren't gonna stop and listen to her playing the piano on the bridge, and those feelings is what she wants to sing about. So even though like I like the uplifting nature of the translation of the person who uploaded it to YouTube, but I will sing with all of my heart, not with all of my feeling, because that sounds kind of weird. People don't really talk like that. While I kind of like that, it still isn't quite getting the meaning of I want to sing about those grievances that I was saying in those earlier lines, whereas the Netflix translation does a better job of that. Okay, so we have a little fangirling moment here where Tuesday like stops her and then she doesn't really know what to say and she goes, no. So ano is a speech filler. It's like, and in the Netflix, they didn't even subtitle it. Sometimes subtitlers will do that. They'll leave out words that aren't really words, like ano. It's like, yeah, I think I would have translated that as or excuse me even. But I think is probably better because they've been staring at each other for a bit, so saying excuse me is kind of weird. So the Netflix version left out the ano part and they just did atashi ... arigato, I ... thank you. The person who uploaded it to YouTube, it was the same thing, but they added in there, which again I like. I think the is nice. And then Carol's like, eh? And then Tuesday said, atashi nani itterun daro? So atashi, me, I. Nani is what? Itterun daro. So itteru is am saying. And then daro. So nani itteru no daro. That's kind of like des. Daro is like probably. So, what is it that I am saying? What could I possibly be saying is kind of literally what that means. And then she follows it up with wake wakannai yo ne. So wake wakannai, that's a whole phrase of its own. It means it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. You don't get it. We don't get it. It's usually I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. Yone is if you watched my Japanese for Beginners series, I did a whole video on yo and ne. And if you add yone back to back like that, it's making your statement strong, like you have confidence in your statement, and then you're adding the ne at the end, so it's like, don't you agree? So yone is more like she's assuming what Carol is thinking. It's like, oh, you're probably thinking wake wakannai. This lady's crazy. Bitch doesn't make sense. Yone? It's like, yeah, I'm crazy, aren't I? That's what you're thinking, and I agree. That's kind of the sentiment behind that. So Netflix translated those two lines as, what am I saying? I don't make sense, do I? It's all right. I probably would do, and this is a bit of a localization, but for that second line, I would probably say, you probably think I'm crazy, or you must think I'm a psycho, or you must think I'm crazy, or you must think I'm weird. And then the person who uploaded it to YouTube is, what I said ... is weird, right? I don't know, I don't really like that. It's not very natural. It's not very like the way people would actually speak. What I said is weird, right? Like, that's actually incidentally a really good test to know if your translation of something is good, is say it out loud. And if it just sounds weird or feels weird to say it out loud, then it's weird. And it's weird. Wakannai yo ne? Then you probably have to change it. 寂しいけど、寂しくないって言いたい。一人だけど。So the next line is 寂しいけど寂しくないって言いたい。一人だけど一人じゃないって言いたい。So 寂しい means lonely, けど means but. 寂しくない means not lonely, て言いたい. So something て言いたい means want to say something. So 寂しくないて言いたい means I want to say, or you want to say, you're not lonely. And then it's the same sentences, but just with hitori, and hitori means are alone. So samishi is feel lonely. Hitori is am alone. It's like just you against the world. So you're lonely, but you want to say that you're not lonely. You're all alone, but you want to say that you're not all alone. そんな風に思ったの。そんな風に思ったの. That's how I saw it. そんな風に means just like that, and then 思った is thought. And then no, again, she's ending her sentence with no. That's like no des, no da, des. She's explaining what she's thinking. So that's what those three lines like literally mean. On Netflix, you're lonely, but you're not lonely. You're alone, but you're not alone. That's what I felt like you were saying. And then the person who uploaded it to YouTube translated it as, you're lonely, but you won't say I'm lonely. That's just flat out wrong. You're alone, but you won't say I'm alone. That's what I thought Yeah, so it's not you won't say that you're alone, it's that you want to say that you're not alone, or you want to say that you're not lonely. So that's wrong, but it's not entirely wrong. It's just kind of a reworking of the thought. Instead of having the negative on lonely and alone, she's putting the negative to the say. So instead of you want to say that you're not alone, she's flipping that and saying you don't want to say that you are alone. She's just flipping. Now I'm gendering the person who translated. I don't know the gender of the person who translated this. Tuesday is female, so I'm just saying she. That's actually what happened there. So it's not really wrong. It's just a rewording, and sometimes a rewording of negatives can actually work quite well. But I think the you want to say, this is what you're trying to express. そんな風に思ったの, if the translator had translated そんな風に思ったの as that's what you're trying to express, that would make that whole translation make sense, but the translator on YouTube translated it as that's what I thought. That doesn't exactly line up with everything. So close but no cigar.
そうだよ.
And then Carole says, そうだよ. So means that, what you said, basically. Yes, right. And then そうだよ. So the だよ is this very like firm, like, yes, so saith I. Yes, that is right. You're so right. It's a very firm, you're right. Netflix translated that as right, period. That's right, period. And the person on YouTube translated it as, yes, that's right. I like the YouTube translation better. Because Carole is like excited, like, oh my God, you understood what I was singing, even though it was just scat. I wasn't actually using lyrics. So I really like the exclamation points and the yes, that's right in the YouTube version of the translation. So thanks for watching my very long breakdown of this scene from Carole and Tuesday. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. Let me know what anime series you want me to look at next, what scene you want me to dissect. Thank you to all my lovely patrons for supporting all the videos that I do on this channel. And I'll see you next Carole and Tuesday. Haha, horrible pun. Bye.